Good morning, this is Jason with the National Weather Service here in Atlanta with your weekly weather briefing for Thursday, November the 5th. So we'll be talking about a largely tranquil weather pattern for the first half of the extended. As we get into the latter part of the weekend and especially next week, middle of next week, we will be increasing our rain chances as the front approaches. So we'll talk about that. Temperatures are going to continue slightly above normal through the period, but nothing outrageous. Going to be actually pretty nice with the lower 70s for highs. We will be monitoring closely the evolution of Tropical Depression Eta. It's going to be a slow go of it. I'll detail a little bit about the progression of it, but as slow as it's moving, really not expecting too many effects even within this forecast period of a week. And it's going to be after that should the model progression showing a slow motion continue. So if you've been outside at all this morning, you can see what a beautiful day it is once again out there. This is a series of beautiful days we've had. High pressure remains in control, providing for sunny skies out there and seasonable temperatures as well. The main weather systems remain well to the west of the local area out over the west coast. You can also see some disturbed weather over the Caribbean, but overall it's just a very nice weather pattern for us. So I'm going to take you through the next few days here, up to a week, to tell you what the weather is going to be. And for the first couple of days, it's going to be a near carbon copy, especially for Friday with that high pressure remaining anchored over the mid-Atlantic states. That's going to provide some dry weather, mostly sunny skies over the local area. If we look along the Atlantic seaboard down into Florida, we do see an increase in moisture and some showers down there, but those showers are going to remain outside of our local area, so the nice days will continue. By the weekend, though, we will see an increase in moisture. It will be a slight increase. This is for Sunday. Saturday, we should be largely okay, maybe a slight chance of showers across far southeastern zones. But by the time we get into Sunday, moisture increases a little bit more as that high shifts offshore, and we get a little bit more easterly flow bringing that moisture in. So you can see we've got generally 20 to 30% chances of rain for the Columbus, Macon areas and points southeast. Really doesn't make it to the Atlanta metro or to northwest Georgia, but just something to keep in mind that we do have some low-end rain chances beginning, especially on Sunday. So I'm going to skip ahead here to Tuesday, and that's when we start to see a front approaching from the west, and that's going to try to take advantage of some of that moisture that's already in place and increasing from that easterly flow that we have over the area. So combination of those two factors, as well as some moisture coming up from the Gulf of Mexico, increased chances of rain just slightly. So we're getting close to that 40% range as we get over far eastern sections of the forecast area. And then you can see we do have rain chances for the entire area with a slight chance up in the far northwest to 30% for the Atlanta metro as we get into Tuesday afternoon. Then as we get into Wednesday, that front pushes a little bit further east and the moisture increases over the local area. So right now we're advertising generally 30 to 40% chances of rain, but we're going to be watching this closely. If the model trends continue, expect these rain chances to go up with subsequent forecasts. So be on the lookout for that. Just because we have 30 to 40% right now, these could be on an upward trend if we continue to see what we've been seeing out of the models. So the image on the right shows the forecast for Thursday, which looks an awful lot like Wednesday, if you recall. That front is just not able to make much progression to the east. We still have the moisture in place, so we do have rain chances still in the forecast for Thursday. Again, same deal as Wednesday. As the forecast approaches, that time period approaches, we're going to be looking at increasing the rain chances should the models continue to show this scenario with the front interacting with the moisture. The image on the left shows the potential rainfall forecast for the next 7 days. Nothing too bad across the area, and generally a quarter to a half inch from the Atlanta metro and points northward as we get into the mountains. Around an inch expected in those locations for the next 7 days. And then as far as temperatures go, the top image is Atlanta, middle image is Macon, and the bottom image is Athens. And we can see temperatures are pretty steady state through the whole period, not varying by more than a degree or two, maybe increasing by the middle of next week, but 70 to 73 for Atlanta. A little bit warmer down there in Macon, as you would expect, with mid to upper 70s, and then Athens right there in the low to mid 70s through the end of the week, which these numbers are a little bit above what we would expect for this time of year. So here's the official forecast from the National Hurricane Center for Tropical Depression Eta, and if you'll notice, it's just a really slow progression as it meanders from near portions of Central America and then out into the Gulf of Mexico, across Cuba, and then back to the west. And it's just a slow go of it. And so by the time we get to the end of the forecast period on Tuesday, we're still south of Florida here. So, I could show you some of the spaghetti plots and model forecasts of this, but it really is futile at this point given such slow motion for this particular storm. It's by the time you get to the end of the period, as it goes across Cuba potentially, that's going to have an effect on it. So it's better of a wait and see at this point and see how it progresses once it gets into the Gulf of Mexico by early next week, and then determine how it's going to affect the local area. But we're going to be watching it closely, as by middle to end of next week, it could have some potential impacts based on the evolution and where it eventually tracks, but we'll be watching it closely. So looking at the outlook from, say, a week out to about 14 days, above normal precip, again, that's going to depend on how much moisture surges north out ahead of this frontal boundary, but thinking it's going to be above normal from that picture on the left, and then on the right, above normal temperatures as well. So not going to be well above normal, but certainly a few degrees for both the highs and the lows through the period. So in summary, a tranquil weather pattern for the first half of the extended period, but then as we get into middle of next week, we're going to see rain chances start to increase as that front approaches. We will be monitoring closely the evolution of Tropical Depression Eta, but it's going to be very slow movement for it, and any effects that we would have, if any at all, would be by the end of next week into next weekend. So I'm going to be watching it closely for you guys, but right now with the slow movement of it, there's a variety of solutions. So we'll probably get more into it and do some email briefings if we need to next week. So with that, that concludes this weekly briefing. I appreciate you listening. If you want to connect with us, here are ways to do that. And otherwise, hope you guys have a wonderful weekend, and hopefully it's a quiet week for everybody.